Hello there, welcome to this video on leadership styles. By the end of this video, we should be able to explain what is meant by 4 different styles of leadership: autocratic, paternalistic, democratic, and laissez-faire. We are also going to discuss the effectiveness of these styles in different contexts and look at the pros and cons. Before we do that, let's have a quick pit stop here to distinguish between what is management and leadership. Management is the day-to-day organization of the business, for example, staffing, whereas leadership is about having a vision, sharing that vision with others and providing direction. So it's a more holistic, higher level attribute. Management's more day-to-day nitty-gritty. And we have a range of different leadership styles that leaders may adopt. On the right-hand side, quite strict with the megaphone there, autocratic. On the left-hand side, a more decentralized laissez-faire approach. Let's start off with autocratic leadership. Now, this is very much a style of leadership where the leader tells the staff what to do and then enforces it. Decisions are made by the leader. Communication is top-down and one-way. This tends to coincide with very hierarchical systems of command and control. There is very little delegation, and this links with the management theory or the motivational theory of Taylor. Some advantages: well, we've got a high level of control which ensures a consistent approach. Some disadvantages: it may stifle creativity. Subordinates need a lot of supervision. There's a lot of rungs here for management if we've got a lot of levels of the hierarchy, and motivation levels tend typically to be worse. But this can be appropriate when tasks are time critical. We haven't got time for a big discussion about this. I just need to do it and do it now. Maybe if employees lack the skill to make good decisions, or if the consequences of making mistakes are very high, then the leader may decide that it's most appropriate just to tell the workforce what to do. Now let's look at paternalistic leadership. And this comes from the word paternal, or kind of father-like. This is a slightly softer form of authoritarian leadership. Again, the leader makes all of the decisions and consultation is not required. And it's based on the idea that there is no conflict between what's best for the organization and what is best for the workers. So this is slightly softer than being autocratic or authoritarian, and it links more with Mayo's management or motivational theory. So paying attention to employee needs and viewing the workplace as a community. Some advantages: maybe higher levels of motivation as work is driven by a sense of community and loyalty. Disadvantages: employees may become unable to make decisions independently, and some employees will not respond well to the lack of empowerment. So this is kind of like having a father figure who's really telling you what to do. This sort of the adult in the room, but they're not being as direct as previously. So this is appropriate where workers perceive the leader as being best placed to make good decisions and when they have total trust in the leader. Let's move on now to democratic. So we've moved across the spectrum a little bit now. And this is where employees participate in decision making. So democratic, democracy, power to the people. Communication is two-way. There's an emphasis on consultation and delegation. And this tends to link with flatter organizational structures, more decentralized structures. And this links with Herzberg and Maslow's higher order needs. Advantages: well, now we probably start to get slightly higher levels of motivation as workers are consulted or empowered. Quality decision making may improve, and it helps to create a pipeline of future leaders. Disadvantages: consultation can slow the decision making process, and there may be a slightly inconsistent approach throughout the organization if local area managers are having some form of autonomy. This is appropriate where workers are skilled and want to have a say in decisions, and where markets are dynamic and a responsive approach is required. Finally, at the far end of the spectrum, we have laissez-faire leadership. And this is where the leader has little input into day-to-day decision making. So very much a conscious decision to delegate power to the workforce. Subordinates are provided with the tools, resources needed, and then let's get off with the job. Managers, the employees have the freedom to do what they think is best. So this is good for employees who are well suited for independent work, and they often get greater job satisfaction and motivation from this approach. Also, it frees up leadership time to make and take higher level decisions. Disadvantages: if employees feel the leader is disconnected from their work, productivity may deteriorate. Lack of communication may make it harder to achieve objectives. It may be hard to get employees to collaborate when they're used to being independent. This is appropriate where staff are ready and willing to take on responsibility, or perhaps the leader lacks knowledge experience about the exact detail, the minutiae of subordinates' work. So what might influence a leader's leadership style? Well, the tradition and the culture of the business is important. What's gone previously. The personality of the manager or the leader and his or her knowledge and experience of the industry would be important. The skills, experience, characteristics of the workforce. A more skilled, more experienced workforce, maybe more of a laissez-faire approach. If they've got low skills, low experience, maybe more of an autocratic approach. The organizational structure, again, flat and wide, tends to lend itself more to laissez-faire and democratic, whereas tall and narrow, it tends to lead to more paternalistic and autocratic. The nature of the task and its urgency. So if it's a very urgent task when we need to more autocratic, do this now, we haven't got time to discuss. If it's less time fixed, then maybe more of a laissez-faire approach. And again, the nature of the task, if it's quite simple, repetitive, maybe more autocratic. If it requires a lot of creativity or free thinking, then again, maybe more democratic or laissez-faire. Finally, the nature of the product, the market the business is in. If it's quite a traditional market, then maybe more autocratic. If it's quite dynamic, fast-changing market, maybe more laissez-faire. So each leadership style has its pros and cons. The best leaders will select the most appropriate style based on the situation they are in. And successful leaders will be required to demonstrate a range of styles. They can tailor their leadership style for the situation that presents itself. So in this video, we've looked at the 4 different styles of leadership, some of the pros and cons, and then some assessment of the effectiveness of these styles in context. That's it. Thank you very much for listening.